Hey guys, Jason here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm continuing my Stephen King reading project videos. We left off in the 2000s, so today we're talking about the first half of the 2010, so 2010 to 2014. There are 7 books on this list. Stay tuned for part 2, which will be through the end of the 2010s. Also, before we get into the list, I just want to remind everybody that we are reading My Heart is a Chainsaw in January for the book club, and I will be posting, I'm almost done with the book. I will be posting the video probably in a week or two, kind of the beginning of March. And then in March, we are reading the sequel, Don't Fear the Reaper, and that will get us ready just in time to read The Angel of Indian Lake, the conclusion to the trilogy, in April, right after it comes out. It comes out March 26th, maybe? Something like that. In addition, I've been thinking about branching out a little bit as far as the type of content that I cover here. I'd like to start doing some things that aren't necessarily bookish. So, if you are interested in those things, just keep an eye out. You will see what I mean when it happens. How's that? So without further ado, let's get into the list. First book is Full Dark No Stars, published in 2010. This is a novella collection. It has 4 novellas. They were all very good. I actually really enjoyed it. One in particular, The Good Marriage, I really enjoyed because it was kind of loosely based on like an actual killer. But what's interesting about these is they all deal with abuse, spousal abuse mostly, and things like that. There's not very much supernatural stuff that happens, except for maybe in the first story, 1922. There's maybe some, but yeah, I really liked this. It was very, very heavy stuff. Next is 11/22/63, published in 2011. This is a big, thick one. Many people consider this his best work. I wouldn't go so far, but it is very, very good. I was not very familiar with the JFK assassination outside of like pop culture stuff and like what you kind of pick up in school and that. So it was interesting in that way to like, I felt like I was learning a lot. It's clear that Stephen King did a lot of like research, and obviously he was alive at the time, so he knew kind of the feeling of what was going on at the time. Also, really neat like sci-fi stuff with the time travel and everything. I don't want to give too much away, but it really was quite good. And you get a little taste of Derry, Maine in there, which is always nice. I always love to see those kinds of connections and things and characters from previous novels. So yeah, check it out. Next up is The Wind Through the Keyhole, published in 2012. This is the final, I guess, Dark Tower novel. Although there are other novels that like connect to the Dark Tower. This one is specifically about Roland and Susan, Eddie, and Jake. Chronologically, it takes place kind of between book 4, Wizard and Glass, and book 5, The Wolves of the Kala. Depending on who you talk to, people recommend different things. Some people say to read it then. I say read it in the publication order. Read it after you finish the whole series, because I think it's one of the weaker Dark Tower novels. It's a good story, but it doesn't really add much outside of like some contextual, just what were they doing kind of stuff. It's also another one of those story within a story within a story. It's like Roland telling them about something that happened to him in the past. And considering you just came off of one of those with Wizard and Glass, if you read it right after, it can just really like slow the pacing down. Like nothing that has happened for the last 2 books is progressing the Dark Tower story. So that's why I recommend pinning this one at the end. Alright, next one is Joyland, published in 2013. This is probably my favorite of the hard case crime novels. It's a crime novel. It's about a college student named Devin Jones. He gets a summer job at this like boardwalk theme park thing called Joyland. And he's working there and whatever, and he uncovers this like murder mystery thing. It's a murder mystery. I read it a while ago. I don't remember there being much supernatural stuff going on. I think the thing that makes this one really good is just the characters are really well drawn and awesome, and the setting is cool. There's some really funny scenes in here too, with Devin dressing up like a dog, like a mascot, like basically dressing up like Mickey Mouse, but it's a dog, for this theme park, and like the kids love it, and I don't know, it's just like very endearing and nice. So yeah, it was a good one. Next on the list is Dr. Sleep, published in 2013. This is a sequel to The Shining. Follows an adult Danny Torrance, alcoholic, whatever, and there's a new evil in town, the True Knot. They're a gang of RV wandering people that prey on the suffering of children, basically. Specifically, children who can shine. Stephen King doesn't write very many sequels, but this one was really good. Yeah, really, really liked it. This was actually one of my first Stephen King novels that I read when I started kind of doing this project again. Like I read The Shining and this, and then I read it, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to read The Dark Tower. And then after that was when I was like, I'm going to read every novel that Stephen King's ever written. So it's been a long time since I've read this book. However, this one sticks with me more than a lot of the other books that I've read more recently. It was just really good. Next up is Mr. Mercedes, published in 2014. This is the first novel in the Bill Hodges trilogy. This is the first novel that we are introduced to Holly Gibney, who is a recurring character. You will hear much more about her in the coming books, and Stephen King loves Holly. Loves her. This is not my favorite book in the trilogy. However, this is a very good book. Essentially, Bill Hodges, he's a washed-up, retired police detective, and kind of comes out of retirement when a man runs over a bunch of people, murders a bunch of people in his car, in a Mercedes. So they call him Mr. Mercedes. And so yeah, it's kind of a crime novel. There's no supernatural stuff in this one, although it does get a little weird later on in the series, but we'll get to that. Just kind of a regular old detective novel with your main guy and his companions trying to solve this murder, this horrific murder. If anyone's watched the Mr. Mercedes show, let me know if it's any good. All right, and the last book on this list is Revival, published in 2014. This book is really good. Our main character is named Jamie Morton. He's a kid. He's probably, in the beginning of the book, he's like probably 8, 10, something like that. He lives in Maine with his family, whatever. And this new Reverend Charles Jacobs comes to town and starts a church. And it's kind of a story of his entire life. Like, he grows up, has encounters with this Reverend Charles guy throughout his life. I don't really want to spoil too much, but this is a crazy book. It's really, really thought-provoking and like horrifying in like a questioning your sanity and reality type of a way. Some people say this is his scariest book, maybe. So I recommend it. That's all. Again, please join us for the book club. I will put the link to the Discord in the description so you can check that out. Stay tuned for more videos. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.